capture the sentiment and the essence of Bram Fisher. David Butler joins us in studio, and he's going to play the man himself in this upcoming production. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Ayanda.
Tell us about how you prepared for this role.
Well, Harry Kalmer, who wrote the script, approached me and said he had this idea. He'd done a lot of research. He'd interviewed some of Fisher's cellmates, and because a lot of people from that time are not around anymore, but he spoke to Dennis Goldberg, Hugh Lewin, Ilse, Bram's daughter, and wrote this play to uncover not so much the political story about Bram, but Bram the man. Where did he come from, his background, what motivated him, and the events in his life. And Harry came to me and said, would you like to play this? And I just loved the text, and so we started working on it. And whenever you approach a character like that, you look at what you have common in your life emotionally, because there are significant events in Bram's life, although our lives are completely different, that I could tap into to create the character. And what you do is you springboard from the text. So I'm not doing an impersonation of Bram. I'm playing Bram the way I see him. And in actual fact, Bram's daughter Ilse has seen the show twice, and she thanked me for the interpretation that we brought to Bram.
Let's speak a little bit more about that interpretation and some of the attributes that you perhaps thought, this is interesting, I didn't know that he had this particular temperament, or his character was prone to this. Tell us about that.
Interesting. A lot of people, because Bram was imprisoned in 1966, he defended Nelson Mandela and the Rivonia Trialists. He was their advocate. And 2 years later, he found himself on trial under the Suppression of Communism Act and was imprisoned for life, along with Dennis Goldberg. There were other people around him who got shorter sentences, but Bram and Dennis were imprisoned for life, and Bram died in prison in 1975. So from the moment he went into prison, because of the Suppression of Communism Act, he wasn't allowed to be reported on. You weren't even allowed to mention his name in the newspaper. So he kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. Obviously, family and friends knew what was going on, but the wider public. And the main response we've had when we've done the show at the festivals is, we didn't know that. We didn't know that. Because nobody knew anything about Bram, because Bram died in prison. His death wasn't allowed to be reported on. It just went under the radar. And that's one of the motivations for doing the show, is that to bring Bram's story to life, because it has never been told. And Bram didn't walk out. He made the supreme sacrifice in his struggle against apartheid. He didn't walk out in 1990 and celebrate. He didn't see the thing that he fought for. So we're doing this production to kind of set that balance right.
Talk to us now about your target audience. It is a one-man show. Is there singing? Is there dancing? What kind of person are you appealing to with the show?
Every single South African who's interested in our country. It's a beautiful text. It's a one-man show. It takes place in prison, obviously. So it's Bram on his own, in his cell, looking back, looking forward, talking about the present, what's happening in his life at that moment, which is in prison. And I'm not a dissimilar age to Bram when he went into prison. And him looking back and telling the story of his life, coming from sort of well-to-do Bloemfontein Free State family, turning his back on that and dedicating himself to the struggle. And personal things, his personal life, getting to know the man, like how much he liked waltzing, for example.
Oh, that's something I didn't know. Before we go, we've got about 10 seconds before we go to ad break. Quickly tell me how and when people can go and watch the show.
The Market Theatre, starting tonight for the next 3 weeks. Tuesday to Saturday at night, and a matinee on Sundays at 3.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. A website that people can quickly click on if they forget. No?
Market.co.za, the Market Theatre.
Yeah, Market Theatre website.
Yeah.
My thanks so much to you for having joined us, and all of the very best. And I leave this conversation knowing that Bram Fisher enjoyed waltzing. And there we have it. I think a lot of people saying, I didn't know that. I look forward to the show. And that's where we leave it, at least for now. Quick ad break. Morning Live continues after this.